Today's Norfolk Connection takes us back over a century to the pioneering days of exploration and the very early days of recording. This voice is not recorded on disc or tape, but on an Edison Phonograph wax cylinder.
Main results of the British Antarctic expedition of 1907 under my command are as follows.
Our Norfolk Connection is Sir Ernest Shackleton. He was a famous British explorer who was voted number 11 in a poll of the 100 greatest Britons. You might be surprised to know that Ernest Shackleton has a link to Norfolk. He and his family moved to Sheringham from Edinburgh in 1910. They rented Mainsail Hall, now known as Martindale. It was owned by a naval officer, Commander George Dolphin. Shackleton took advantage of the local boats for rowing practice in preparation for his Antarctic expeditions and sailed with a lifeboat crew on the J.C. Madge, which now sits in Sheringham Museum. Born in 1874, Ernest Shackleton led 3 British expeditions to the Antarctic and was one of the principal figures of the period known as the heroic age of Antarctic exploration. Ernest Shackleton's first experience of the polar regions was as third officer on Captain Robert Falcon Scott's Discovery expedition between 1901 and 1904. Next came his Nimrod expedition of 1907 to 1909. On returning home, Ernest Shackleton was knighted for his achievements by King Edward VII, and on March 30th, 1909, he recorded this Edison Cylinder.
We reached a point within 97 geographical miles of the South Pole. The only thing that stopped us from reaching the actual point was the lack of 50 pounds of food.
Ernest Shackleton's Nimrod expedition came so close to success, but the race to the South Pole ended 2 years later, in December 1911, when Roald Amundsen successfully made it to the South Pole. Ernest Shackleton returned to the Antarctic with an expedition in 1921, but he died of a heart attack while his ship was moored in the South Atlantic island of South Georgia. At his wife's request, he remained on the island and was buried there. The wreck of his ship Endurance was discovered just over a century after Shackleton's death. Thanks to Thomas Edison's invention, the phonograph, we're still able to hear the voice of Ernest Shackleton in the 21st century.
And throughout all this, I was helped by a party of men who were regardless of themselves and only thinking of the good of the expedition. I, Ernest Shackleton, have today, March the 30th, dictated this record.